Here we go. We are recording, and I'm going to turn it over now to Julie Humphrey.
Hi, thank you all for participating today. Thank you, Jenny. And I just joined the TNT Roundtable, and I'm really excited to be a part of this great group. So I do hope you will also join. I am a librarian at Durham Tech Library. I'm the assistant director, and I have been working with Films on Demand since NC Live picked it up a little while back, and so I'm excited to share some information with you about this cool product. So we'll learn about some of the content that's in the collection today. We'll learn about some of the key features of the platform, and we'll talk about benefits to your patrons and your students, faculty, and library staff. So since I'm coming from a college, I might be in the habit of saying faculty and students, but please think about your patrons and your colleagues as I'm presenting today. And then towards the end, I'll walk you through the resource. We'll have a little demo, and there will be plenty of time to answer questions. And I'll have a couple questions for you at the end, too, to gauge what you thought about this product. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So Films on Demand is brought to us by NC Live. It's a streaming video platform, and it has really high quality educational video content. And there are two different collections. There's a public library collection and an academic collection. And it's based on, NC Live has set that for you based on your type of library. So when we go into the demo and you see my screen today, it may look a little bit different than the public library screen, but they're very similar in the content, and I'll tell you where it differs here and there. So I mentioned lots of educational content. There are documentaries. There are some really good archival primary source materials. There's a whole collection of newsreels of footage from the WPA Film Library going back, I think, as early as the early 1900s. So some really neat historical materials, lots of videos aligned with high school and college curriculum. And for the public library collection, there are some unique areas of content. There is a lot focused on travel. So there's the Rick Steves travel series in here, lots of workout and fitness videos, lots of how-to videos, things for patrons just interested in different hobbies or personal enrichment, things like gardening. There's also music and dance performances, world languages, and some good content for children in the public library collection. A quick snapshot of the academic collection features a lot of content for business, health and medicine, the social sciences, humanities. All of the natural sciences are in here, history, and some really good vocational training. I'm at a community college, and when I shared some of the content with some of our vocational technical program instructors, they were really excited. So we really like the automotive content that's in here. It's great. There are more than 700 different producers in Films on Demand, and some of them are listed here. So there's some really reputable ones. BBC, Films for the Humanities and Sciences, TED is here, Bill Moyers, PBS, National Geographic, California Newsreel, American Experience, and then literally hundreds of others. So really nice selection of publishers and programs featured here. So the platform I have found really easy to use, and just to talk about some of the features and benefits, there are more than 25,000 films and segments in this collection. So it's huge. It's a giant collection of content. And one thing that's really nice is it's unlimited, simultaneous, 24/7 access. So all of your patrons can be watching the same movie at the same time, and it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to get blocked out from seeing it. There are some good browse and search tools that I'll show you in the demo shortly. And there are some nice ways to share the content, save it, and organize videos into a custom playlist if you'd like. And one thing that's really neat is the films, almost all of them are broken down into these little segments, and they're pretty short. They're like 2, 3, 4 minutes long, and they're just a nice little clip. So sometimes you may not want to watch or have time to watch a whole film that's an hour long, but you might be able to show just a few minutes, or watch a few minutes. So that is a nice feature of this platform. One thing that's really wonderful is there is closed captioning. I think it's about 75% of the collection is CC. And then there are transcripts for thousands of the titles, so a written transcript. And I'll show you that in the demo. There is HTML embed code so that faculty can put these films or clips into their learning management system. And there are also free MARC records for putting in your library catalog to help your patrons locate these. And one other nice thing is there are citation options so that students and patrons and researchers can easily generate a citation in the format of their choosing. And another really nice thing is these are viewable on mobile devices. So Android, Apple, tablets, BlackBerry, laptops, very portable. So you can watch these on most devices. So I thought I could take a minute to talk about patrons and students actually using this and how they might benefit. And one thing I thought about was visual learners can be really engaged by watching films. And then I thought faculty might show a clip in class, but then that might spark the students' interest in that topic, and then they might want to watch the entire film. They could also rewatch if something is shown in class and they need a little more time with it. They can watch these on their own time. Students can also browse to find inspiration for a research topic. So many times students come up and say, I have no idea what to write about for this paper, and this can be sort of a nice way for them to come up with some ideas. And then it's really nice that they can use these from home or from anywhere. So sitting on a park bench, your patron can watch these. Then I thought a little bit about how faculty and teachers might use films on demand, why and how. And I thought about clips being a really good way to generate a class discussion and maybe a nice way to introduce a new subject or topic. And the really nice thing is that instructors can embed those direct links to films or clips into their course management site. And one other thing that's kind of nice is that you can create playlists and then you can email them to faculty could email them to students or other colleagues in their department. Librarians can email those to patrons to suggest some particular titles on a topic. And this is also a nice feature. Email alerts can be set up under your preferences when you register with the platform. If there's a particular subject area or discipline that you're interested in, you can be alerted when new content is added in that area. So that's kind of a nice little feature. And librarians, of course, can use films on demand in a lot of ways. It's nice that you can add these to your catalog. One thing that is exceptionally wonderful is that public performance rights are included. So you can do library programming with these, and you don't have to worry about copyright infringement. So you can set up a program or a presentation, movie watching group, whatever you might be interested in doing, and you don't have to fear about getting public performance rights because they're all included. Usage statistics and reports can be obtained from the administrator portal. There are lots of great page customization options in the administrator portal, and I'll show you some of the things that we've done when we get to the demo for Durham Tech. And there are also some nice built-in widgets that can be added to your library's website or your LibGuides that can feature individually selected titles that you might want to highlight. So before we go on to the demo and take a look, do you have any questions about the content or any of the features of the platform? If you do, feel free to type those into the chat box. My chat box went away, but I got it back. Very good question. Does everyone have access to both the public and academic collections? I wish. Unfortunately, it is set up by the type of library that you're in. And I do see how the content is relevant to all of us. It would be nice if it were merged. But unfortunately, at this point, it is separate, just based on NC Live choosing which collection you'll have based on your type of library.
And Julie, I got a chat, and I'm not sure if you saw it. It says, it's from Jennifer. How do you usually share these videos with your instructors? Email, sessions, in person? How do you usually get that information out?
Oh, good. Good question. And Jennifer, I've been struggling with this because I really want to promote it more with our faculty. And I've been thinking about ways to do it. I have been posting quite a bit about it on our library's blog and kind of featuring different titles there or collections there. A lot of times I will just email the instructor a link to Films on Demand. When we get into the demo, I'll show you how you can export an Excel file of the titles, so I've done that. And anytime instructors are here in the building checking out movies, I will try to just in person show them or just catch their ear for a second and tell them about this. So, good question. Let's see, I see something from Jerry Ann. I know we can embed them into the LMS, but is there a way to have the Films on Demand platform integrated within the LMS like YouTube is in Blackboard? That's a great question, Jarian. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. That might be a good question to take to the NC Live help desk, and I'll give you some information about how to contact them at the end. But that's a really good question. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Okay. Jenny, did I miss any other questions?
I don't see any others, so I think we are good. But again, everybody, if you've got anything, please feel free to just throw that in the chat if you think of something that you meant to ask.
Yes, please do. And we'll have time at the end, and I'm going to ask you all some questions too, because I have a couple questions that you might be able to help me with. So we will keep going. So now we're going to proceed with the demo portion. So I'm going to navigate us to the NC Live website. And you would simply get there if you aren't familiar with NC Live with the URL nclive.org. And it'll take just a second to connect. Actually, that went right into Films on Demand. I do want to show you from the home page, though, how to quickly get to Films on Demand. So from the nclive.org website, I find the easiest way to access the videos is right here under Browse by Item Type and select Videos. And you'll notice NC Live has a couple different video collections, and Films on Demand is up at the top. So we'll click there. And I do want to mention, if you are interested in obtaining the administrator login, all you have to do for that is to write to the NC Live help desk, and I'll give you that information in just a bit, and they'll be able to set up administrator access for your institution. And somebody at your library might already have it, and you could talk to them if you have ideas about customizing your page. But it is really nice because they do give you so many options about how to set up your home page. So mine may look a little bit different from yours. I like that they'll put your library's logo on it, and NC Live can help you with that if your logo doesn't appear. But these are all customizable, these headings. So I have Browse Subjects up at the top of our page, and it shows the 29 different subject categories, or you can view all and see them quickly. So these will be the academic categories. Didn't mean to go all the way out. Sorry about that. Also, I've set up where we have the recently added content featured on our page. So this will just be the things that are newly added to the collection. Also, there's featured this month that you can choose to turn on or turn off, and they'll highlight different historical events, or like this month is LGBT Pride Month, so they'll do a little featured collection of videos related to that. And then I'm always curious about what's most popular and what's being viewed the most at our library, so I have that here as well. And they have another category that you can add called featured this month, but then there's another one called featured title lists. And I have used this from time to time, and I have set up like a special collection for Women's History Month or Poetry Month, and identified relevant films and put that right at the top of the page to come up. So there are some nice features built in that you can customize from the admin portal. But the page is pretty easy to navigate. There's a nice search box, and it tells you how many titles and segments you're searching. So this is updated almost daily. The numbers change. There's an advanced search that we'll look at. Also want to mention some really good help resources. They're up in the right corner. And this takes you out to the Films on Demand Support Center. And they have videos here, frequently asked questions, webinars. All of these are links. So training and tutorials will take you to some of their webinars that they're doing. They have some nice video tutorials for some of the advanced features that we won't go into today, but it's nice to know that they'll walk you step by step through doing some of those more advanced settings and things. And how-to tips, this can be really nice to help maybe troubleshoot with a patron who might be having issues. And I did type in technical requirements if you needed to share that with a patron to make sure if they're having trouble viewing them on their device or their phone or computer from home, those tech requirements will come up and you can easily say, make sure you have this, check on this. So this is a great support center. Sorry, this is kind of in the way. Moved it. Okay, good. So now we're back at Films on Demand homepage, and I thought we could do a search. Well, let's actually look at a subject area first. I'm going to click on this View All subjects, and I'm going to go down to History. And then over to the right, you'll see sort of a breakdown of some subtopics in history. So American history, biography, European history, military history. So you could kind of drill down into a subject area if you wanted to. So we'll do American history. And we'll just look at Vietnam and the war. You might see something like this Firefox outdated plugin, and all you have to do there is allow and allow now, and that will bring it up to speed to be able to play. But the controls are very easy. They're just like YouTube. Just hit the play button right in the middle. Here is your closed captioning feature, so you can turn that on and off. You can also make it full screen with this little icon. You can see how long it is right here. So this one's 43 minutes. Down below, you have the record URL. So this might be a nice way if you're a patron or faculty member wanted a direct link for the movie, you can just point them there. And if you have a proxy server, it will include that proxy information, which is nice. You get a little summary of the movie. Then down below, you can see when it was added to the collection. You can also see the copyright. You can also see the producer, and if you wanted to, this is hyperlinked. You could look at other content from that producer. And then over to the right is where you have those nice little shorter segments. So the film is sort of broken down into these 2 or 3 minutes segments or clips. And the transcript, I think it is about 75% of the content has this written transcript, which will appear here if your patron was interested in that. Good, so let's actually do a search now. I'm going to do gun control because that's just been on my mind lately. And it will show you up at the top the number of results. So we got 116 titles. And this is the exporting in Excel. If you wanted a physical Excel doc with all of the titles under this topic, you could just click there and get that nice little Excel spreadsheet with the movie titles, the producer, the publication date, all of that will be in the Excel spreadsheet. And let's go ahead and click on one. Here's one from Moyers and Company. And let's see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Yeah, pretty easy, pretty kind of intuitive interface for kind of browsing around and finding things. Let's do the advanced search so I can just show you that with some of the nice filters that are there. Let's say we wanted to do engine repair. I'm going to do engine and repair. And this is where if you had a copyright date in mind, you could limit there. If you wanted to make sure that only the closed captioning programs come up in your results, you could limit there to make sure. If you only wanted high def programs, if you only wanted those written transcripts, you could use some of those filters and limiters. If you had a particular producer that you wanted to use, you could limit there as well. So engine repair, I've got 19 different ones coming up. And Shopware is a really good producer for technical and vocational content. I do also want to mention the features for embedding. So that is under Share, which is right here. And that will give you the title URL as well as the embed code. So if you clicked over to embed code, that's where you can copy it and paste it into your course management system. You can also email a link, which is nice. Here's the citation feature that I mentioned. And you've got 3 choices there for citations. Custom segment is a fairly new feature. This is kind of an advanced feature, but if you had someone, maybe a faculty member, who wanted to maybe create like 10 minutes long of a segment rather than using just some of these really short ones, and they wanted to customize it, they can easily go in and customize how long they want the segment to be and get the URL for that exact segment to put into their course site. So some nice options there under the video. Also want to mention, and it took me a little while to find this, up at the very top is this menu button. But this has some really nice tools in it. I'm going to show you the subject index. What I like about this, and again, this is the academic collection, so the public library collection will have some variations here. But if you wanted to kind of drill down into a pretty specific subject area, this is a nice way to do it. So if you had early childhood education program on your campus and you wanted all the child care videos, this is a nice way to just find a direct link to that collection. So if you click there, and some of them, I'm always not so sure how they come up. This one about losing weight may not be that appropriate. Maybe there's a little segment about children losing weight or something. But generally, they seem to be pretty relevant to the subject area that you've selected. And up at the top is where you can get a link to those exact titles. So rather than, even though it says it's 1,024 titles in this subject heading, this page link will actually be those ones for child care. So that can be nice. So I've put some of those direct links into my LibGuides, like for the Early Childhood Education Program LibGuide, and just link to that whole video collection there. So kind of targeted. And then there's the export all the titles if you wanted the Excel sheet. So this can be kind of nice, and it did, like I said, it took me a little while to find this, but it is handy to be able to look at these different subject areas more closely. And also, under that same menu button is the producer index. And this can be helpful if you just kind of wanted to look at maybe everything that's from National Geographic. You can just go down and find it alphabetically. Click there and it'll have all of that content. So you'll have the 393 Nat Geo titles, and you can have a direct link to those if you had a patron interested in those. So I think that is mostly what I wanted to mention. I did also want to mention you can create your login right here under My Films in the right-hand corner. And you just register for a free account, and when you do that, you'll get to set up your preferences if you want email alerts, if you want to make playlists, if you want to add some of your favorites. It works very much like a Netflix account, so pretty easy to use and operate. Good, I'm just going to check my notes to make sure I've covered things that I wanted to do. While we're here, do you have questions? Is there anything you'd like me to go back into?
So Julie, we had 2 questions that came in. One is from another Julie. From one Julie to another. How is theater mode different from full screen?
Theater mode? Is that what it was? How theater mode? Okay. Actually, that's a good question. I don't know that I've explored that. Let's just see what it looks like. If we click on one. Let's see. Good question. Okay. So maybe it just kind of changes the image a little bit. I'm not sure, but it seems to change it a little bit versus the full screen. I think I might like the full screen better. Maybe you lose some of the detail and high resolution. Oh, good question.
And then another question was from Jerry Ann to see if you could show the export of the Excel file.
Sure, yeah, be glad to. Yeah, so I'm just going to do all of the archive and films and newsreels and just open that up to an Excel doc. Sometimes it takes a little, oh, that was fast. Sometimes it does take a minute for it to load, but then this is kind of what you get. You get the title, and you can move these across to be able to read it a little easier. You get a little description, you get the copyright, and then you get the title URL. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then, of course, you can go in and edit and make notes and change things, delete things if you wanted to, if they weren't relevant. But it's been a nice tool to use to faculty just to send them an easy list to let them browse what's in here. Good question. Other questions? Well, I have a few questions for you all to try and get you engaged a little bit. What did you like about the platform that you just saw? And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can type that in. And I'll give you a second to respond. And I'm going to try to bring my chat back. It disappeared, but okay, good. I see it now. Oh, good. Easy linking and the usage stats are great. Yeah. And the citation tool and easy embedding, the variety of content. Yeah, it's impressive. Search does keyword search of transcripts. I think you can search the transcripts, and I think that's under the advanced search. I think you can search within the transcripts. Good question. I like the possibility of creating customized feature lists for the main page. Yeah, I really like that too. I think it's fun, and it's a nice way to highlight titles that you want your patrons to see. And being able to change the order of the categories is really nice. And omitting some or adding your own. Use it for programming and not worry about copyright. Yes, so great, Gloria. Good. Well, I have just an Alva says, I like the customizable list and being able to get email alerts. Me too. Good. So just 2 more questions for you. How can you use this in your library? And how might you promote this resource to your community? Because I'm constantly trying to think about ways to push this out and get more usage. And I'd love ideas from you all about how to do that. Oh, Terry says we have a spotlight feature on our home page. Oh, cool. And then you kind of rotate the resources. Oh, I like that. Oh, streaming films LibGuide. That's really nice. That would be a good way to promote it. Oh, and language learning resources. Trying to promote those and highlight those to our visual learners. Good idea. And I always send every fall sort of a welcome back email to campus and to the faculty. And I thought, well, I definitely need to highlight this again. It's been a little while since I've made a plug for it. So I think that is another positive way. Yeah, faculty emails. Yeah, because they are constantly asking us to buy them streaming videos. So that's great that we already have this. Yeah, just letting people know at our service desks and making sure they know how to access the collection. So even just some sort of internal education to our library staff to kind of promote it at the desk. Good idea. Good. Well, I'm going to use some of these ideas. Thank you all. And I definitely want to leave you with some support information, which was the NC Live Help Desk, which is great. You can call them, you can email them, help@nclive.org. You can put in a support ticket. They respond really quickly. They are so helpful and always willing to go the extra mile to help troubleshoot or help you with a glitch or just answer questions you may have. So please feel free to contact them. And I let them know that I was doing this presentation to kind of give them a heads up that they might have some questions about this resource in particular. So please don't be shy about contacting them. And also the Films on Demand Support Center that I mentioned is really helpful. I've just kind of dug in there and found some really good information. And I just want to thank you all so much for participating, for asking questions and giving me suggestions. And my contact information is here if you'd like to reach me. And it's been a real pleasure. I enjoyed presenting for you today.
Thank you so much, Julie. This was great. I have a lot of ideas now about how I might use this too.
Good.
I was typing in the chat after Alva mentioned using it with patrons, and I mentioned this to Julie yesterday when we were talking about it. We get students all the time at the desk who say, I'm supposed to watch this movie and I can't find it anywhere. And for some reason, my first instinct is never to go to Films on Demand, and I need to get in that habit. So,
yeah.
Well, thank you again, Julie, and thank you guys all so much for being an amazing audience. I will be sending out, Julie has already generously provided me with her PowerPoint, so I'll send out her PowerPoint slides as well as the recording of this. You've got Julie's contact information there. Seems like she's the expert on this. And if you if you have questions about TNT, or if you have an amazing idea for a webinar, or if you want to try your hand at presenting a webinar, please feel free to email me. You should have my email from when I sent you the information about this webinar. So keep an eye out for the recording and the slides and for information about future webinars. And if you're not a member of TNT, please join. We have so much fun. We really do.
Great.
All right. Thank you guys all so much. And if you don't have any more questions, feel free to close out and you'll hear from me soon.
Thank you.